Well, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, wherever you happen to be. My name is Jim Tanner. I'll be your host today for our Business Solutions Circle Up event here on Monday, September 11th. Now, we weren't together last Monday here in the United States. We celebrated Labor Day, and in Canada, they celebrated Monday. So everybody was really excited last week about that. But we're back here today as we continue forward, marching towards Q4, really Super Bowl time in our business, especially in business solutions. So we're going to be talking about timing and how everything is coming together for us. We're also going to be talking about these big events that we were promoting over the last several weeks in Baltimore and Chicago. I've got folks standing by that are going to be sharing some of that information with us as well. But before we go any further, I'm going to step aside. We're going to bring on Mr. Mike Riches. Now, Mr. Riches, as you know, is a $300,000 ring earner and a Millionaire Club member many times over with our company. But he also serves as our vice president of training. And this is the face and voice you're going to hear at our certification classes and in so many other environments, including this is the gentleman that organized and was the architect of our big super regional events that we just had over the last 6 or 7 days. So, Mr. Mike Riches, we're so excited to have you here with us today. Take it away, sir.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate the time just to jump on and say hello. Let me tell you, first and foremost, guys, I am ecstatic about having an opportunity to have a call like this. So Mr. Tanner, thank you so much for your leadership and your vision. I think that this is an important piece to be able to circle up in a small circle, a circle of team members that are really focused on employee benefit sales and that business solution side of what we do here at Legal Shield. So thank you for Mr. Tanner, for his leadership and vision and putting this together, but also to everyone here for plugging in and for caring about what we do in business solutions, because that's, frankly, business solutions makes up about half of our production as a company. And so it wasn't always like that. In fact, it used to be much less. I remember the days where B2B made up about 10%, and today that's half. And so Legal Shield knows that it's an important part of our business, and that's why they've poured a ton of resources into it, including funding an event like we had in Chicago last week and in Baltimore. So thank you to those of you that were plugging into each of those, and it was awesome. I'll tell you what, I know we're going to talk about it today, and I'm not going to give you a whole long exposition on my thoughts, but I will tell you, I thought those were two just powerful events, jam-packed with a really nice mix of education and motivation. And for me, some of you guys have known me for a long time. That's my philosophy, is if we can mix really good education with some really good motivation, that's a recipe for successful training. And I'll tell you where I get that is, I think back to something that Nick Serba said, $1 million ring earner, many years ago, and something that he's said many times since, that if you're not having the results that you want in this business, it boils down to one of two things. You're either not doing something right or you're not doing something enough. And if you're not doing something right, that's an education issue, right? Like we need to teach how to do it properly, and I don't want to imply that there's only one way to do certain things, but we need to share some best practices, and that's what education is for. If you're not doing enough, that's more of a motivation thing. And I'll tell you, I've learned the majority of the time it's the latter there. It's that we're not doing it enough. So, I say that for anyone who says, I don't need the rah-rah, I think what they mean by that is, I don't want to just go to an event and just get fluff. But the reality is, whether you call it rah-rah or not, all of us need a little inspiration from time to time and a little motivation. And I thought, again, those two events, I thought Darnell Self in Baltimore, I thought Rachel Lawton in Chicago just really provided some of that for me. So I know, Jim, that's not why you asked me to jump on for a minute. I'm just going to mention a couple of things. First of all, guys, we do have our expo coming up this week. So I just want to make sure every one of us is plugged into that. That is this Wednesday. We are shortening it. It used to be a 90-minute to 2-hour event, and we've gotten some feedback that, hey, maybe that's a little bit long. So we're going to shorten it to 60 minutes. I'll say this. I'm going to do my best to shorten it to 60 minutes this Wednesday from 4 to 5 Central Time. So translate that to your time zone, but 4 to 5 Central. I'm super excited. We're going to have a panel of experts talking about overcoming objections. I thought Lisa Schiller in Chicago did an excellent job talking about that particular topic. And I'd love to get other people's perspectives. So that's what that conversation is going to be. We're going to do some recognition. We're going to do some updates and share some announcements with you this Wednesday on that expo. Just one for your radar. Our October expo will likely not be the second Wednesday. We typically do those on the second Wednesdays, but in October, we're probably going to move that up. It's not 100% set in stone, but the plan is right now to move it up to the first Wednesday, the 4th. So we'll be coming fresh out of Dallas on that day. We're going to have some exciting announcements in business solutions to talk about as well. We don't want to lose an extra week. So just kind of put that on your radar for the 4th. I realize as we get into Q4, Jim, you said it, you hit it right on the head. I mean, that is our Super Bowl season. And the reality is we're not always going to have time to plug into regular events. We're going to do that as we can. But all of those expos are obviously recorded, so you could listen to them after the fact as well. The other thing that I'll just mention real quickly is we do have our certification trainings free again for all associates for the month of September. So for anyone that might be involved in recruiting into the solution space, and I'm looking at several people here on the screen that I know that is a big part of your game plan. To me, getting them right into a Marty Galano fundamentals class or right into a full certification class, there is nothing wrong with that when you have somebody that is really focused on B2B. I just recruited a brand new associate. I guess it was 2 weeks ago, but I was talking to him on Tuesday, and on Wednesday we had the certification class, and I invited him to join. I said, I know it's last minute, but I invite you to join him. And I didn't have any qualms about that because it was exactly what he was looking for. Now, it was probably like drinking out of a fire hose a little bit because it was his first day, and I get that. I didn't expect him to retain everything, but I did want him to catch some of the vision of what we do here in B2B, which is exactly what that certification class can provide. So we've got a certification class this Friday. We've got a fundamentals class next Friday, and then a certification class the following Thursday, the 28th. So just make sure those are on your radar. But Jim, thanks again for giving me just a minute here, a few minutes up front to just share some of those events that we've got coming up. I'm super excited for them. And just again, thank you to each of you for plugging into a call.
Thank you very much, Mr. Riches. And before you go, I think maybe you want to mention also that we've got the Blitz tomorrow, right? I think yes. If you're not sick of me and Mike Riches yet, well, hang on tight. Want to tell them about that one as well? Yes,
thank you. So our Blitz every Tuesday we've got our Blitz. Tomorrow, we have got, I'm blanking here for a second. Jim Tanner. That should be a pretty easy one for me to remember, right? Jim Tanner is going to be our guest speaker tomorrow. Yes, thank you. I should have mentioned that. We do have our Blitz every Tuesday, guys, for those who can participate. I love it. I mean, we give away prizes every week. It's not about the prizes. We do updates every week. It's not about the updates. It's about two things. It's about plugging into activity, having a dedicated time that you can set aside for prospecting. There is no question that in the B2B side of our business, the number one key to success is effective continual prospecting. Like that is undisputable. There are other things, but they all rise and fall on prospecting businesses. How many businesses am I reaching out to this week that have never heard of Legal Shield before, or at least have never met with me to learn about Legal Shield? And how many businesses, how many of my active groups could I take some of that time to call and try to set up re-enrollments, especially as I'm coming into Q4, which is a huge time to be able to do that. I've learned this: if I sit back and wait for a broker or for a group to reach out to me, then I'm not going to get an optimum setting. I won't say I won't, but the chances of me having an optimum setting to be able to do an enrollment in Q4 are very slim. But if I'm proactive, if I'm the one that's reaching out, and especially if I'm reaching out about something new, that the doors are wide open, usually, for me to come in. So use that 2 hours. That's the first reason that we Blitz, is so that everyone here has 2 hours that you can get on the phone and make calls, and then have a place where you can record that and where you can see everyone else making calls, and it's an inspirational feeling, and I love doing it. The second reason that we do that blitz every week is for training. And I am so excited to have Mr. Tanner. And Jim, you'll have to forgive me because it's been a long week, but I am super excited to have Mr. Tanner train tomorrow. He has not trained on that blitz wrap up, I want to say, since August of 2022. I was looking back, and that's too long for us to go between having Jim Tanner train. So that's on me, and I apologize to Legal Shield for that. But I am super excited to have Jim back and to train tomorrow on that blitz, because it's going to be an awesome opportunity to learn. So again, that is tomorrow. The training itself is 12:05 Central Time, and that is blitzwrapup.com. So just make sure that you've got that. The intro to the blitz is at 9:45 Central Time. That's blitzintro.com. We try to do domain names that are simple. So blitzintro.com at 9:45, blitzwrapup.com at 12:05. The start times are not as simple as the domain names. Anyway, there you go. And thank you for reminding me on that. I'm super excited for that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Richards. Listen, we're going to let you get back to the other 1,000 Zooms you probably booked on this morning. We appreciate you being here with us, and it was great spending some time with you. And if you get a chance to hang out with Mike Riches in Chicago, you get deep dish pizza. So that was worth it alone right there. So thanks for that as well. And we'll see you in Dallas, Texas, buddy. Thanks very much.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
And as we continue on here today, I think that's just so great when you can hear right from the source of the information. Individuals, the trainers, the people putting on the certification classes that are organizing all of this. I want you to know that's what this environment is here. We've only been doing the Monday Circle Up for, I think we started the first Monday in August, if I'm thinking of this correctly. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. And just over the course of this very short period of time, we've already attracted the attention of the home office and the executives, because they are excited for us to have an environment where people can talk frankly and support each other in building their business in the solution side of the house. Now, we've got some folks that were in attendance at those events that I've been talking about, that Mike Riches was talking about. We got Mr. Dan Gray that came up to the Baltimore event, and we've got Jimmy Todd that came up from Houston to Chicago. And so you're going to be hearing from both of them here in a moment. Dan, I'm going to start with you. If I'm just looking to see if you're able to unmute. I think you should be able to. And what we'd love to have you do is share a little bit of your story. Now, Dan, do I have you? I think I have you. I can go to Jimmy if I need to. Let's see.
Okay, I'm ready.
Here you come. All right. So let me give you a proper introduction, Dan. So Dan recently joined the business, and he's going to tell his story, but I know he's not going to brag about himself. And I want to celebrate with all of you and Dan that he just signed up his first family, protected his first family with Legal Shield and ID Shield as well. But he was there with us in Baltimore. It was the first event that he'd heard of after joining the business. And he said to me, hey, I'll be there in Baltimore. And I just want to say this, Dan, because you don't know this, but everybody else here does. People say stuff like that to me all the time. But Dan showed up. And I think, when we say success leaves clues, that's one of the clues. So congratulations to you, Dan. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Take a few minutes and share your thoughts about your first Legal Shield live event, as well as anything you got from the event that you think would be valuable to share with others.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Jim. By introduction, my name is Dan Gray. I recently joined. I've spent the last 30 plus years in the intelligence community. Therefore, no one knows me, but they're going to know me now. So I attended the Northeast Super Regional for probably 4 reasons. I had 4 reasons in mind. First one was basically I wanted to meet the leadership, the directors, the managers, my sponsor, Jim, which I was lucky enough to meet them all at the conclusion of the meeting. As well as that, I wanted to receive and process the important information that was being bestowed upon us by the various speakers. And there were 4 or 5, including a great panel as well. I also participated more or less in between each session in what I would call meet and greet. I got to meet key players, got to meet some of the seasoned associates, directors, managers, and some of the new associates. And the vibe I got, of course, was everyone was quite excited. What I really wanted ultimately to accomplish there was to come away with information, and also enough information to be able to formulate a game plan and questions that I can start answering seasoned professionals in this business to help me become successful as well. I will basically finish by saying I found the meeting extremely exciting. I was what was most impressive. There was a lot of enthusiasm. Everybody was pumped. It was clear to me that this is a team, a family. We all have a unified joint direction we're trying to march. And I firmly believe that if we follow the plan, that we will all be successful. So I really want to thank Jim for letting me come on board, and I hope to make him proud. Thank you, Jim.
And great job. Thank you very much. And it was great to meet you in person. And I'm really excited for your journey forward from here. Listen, Adam Thompson's on this panel, and he knows I said the same thing to him that I'm saying to you right now. You'll always remember your first sale. You'll remember number 1,000. A whole bunch in the middle is going to be a blur, but enjoy the ride. Thanks again for being on with us today. Now, also in Chicago, we had the Chicago event 6 days later. So everybody went home, had Labor Day weekend, tended to things that were important. And most of the same people that were in Baltimore congregated back in the Midwest to speak. We did different information and different topics, but it was the same flavor and vibe, and it was super exciting as well. I've asked Jimmy Ta, who flew up from Houston to Chicago, to share some thoughts. And Jimmy, maybe you want to share with the group a little bit about your journey. And I'm embarrassed to say I don't know how long you've been in the business. I just know that I know the name, and I was so excited to see you in person in Chicago. Maybe you want to share a little bit about yourself as you talk about your experience in Chicago as well.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you sound great.
Okay, great. All right, my name is Jimmy Ta, currently living in Houston, Texas. And just very quickly about my background. I have a background first in medical technology. I used to work at MD Anderson Hospital, which is one of the top cancer hospitals right here in Houston. Before I moved to Florida. And I also have a background in doing commercial and business lending in Florida before. My sister asked me to move back to Texas, and I was in Austin for 8 years, and now in Houston. I started with Legal Shield in a long time, October 2005 in Fort Lauderdale. It was interesting how I was invited to take a look at Legal Shield. I was invited to an identity theft awareness seminar. The first time I didn't go because I was doing residential mortgages at the time. I was super busy. The second time I agreed to go. It just so happened that just before I went to that identity theft awareness seminar, I found out I was a victim of identity theft perpetrated by somebody I used to work for. So that's crazy. I've been, as I mentioned, that's when I started Fort Lauderdale, then Austin here. And it's just to touch a little bit on the Chicago Super League. I had so much fun. I think I learned more. I went to the one in Dallas back in January, but part of it, I'm sure, because of the being more mature. Now 9 months or 8 months after the one in Dallas, and of course, different topics, different speakers. I think I learned a lot more. Just give you a few bullets that I picked up. One of the things, of course, I also love listening to Mike, which is he's about as good as a comedian without being a comedian. His good sense of humor. One of the things that I learned from Mike, which is at enrollments, to ask participation questions like by show of hands, or to ask you like questions such, why would you want an attorney to review a contract before you sign it? Just some good. And actually, the last one, you can ask the person that whether it's in group enrollment or even on a one-on-one basis. There's a lot of other great speakers. Alistair Edwards, he's Alistair's phenomenal. One of the things I learned from Alistair is that after he recruits somebody who gravitates towards the solutions, he immediately takes them to a group enrollment just so they can get a feel for what it's like. So yeah, so I think that's the great, because a lot of times, somebody who's new doesn't know what it's like and is apprehensive. So just by going and observing and helping out, they learn that way also. Adam Thompson, wow, on the panel, I have to say, the story that he shared about his sister, man, that's what I call a 2 to 3 Kleenex box story. Wow. I mean, I don't think anybody can hear that story and not shed some tears. And I mean, that's a perfect way to show the importance of having both the legal plan and ID Shield. And of course, Mr. Tanner, on the panel, you mentioned something that I know I personally, and I'm pretty sure quite a few other associates, sometimes we forget about Mr. Stonecipher's mission. We just, we are to take this message to the world, and how can we change our community if we don't, do a better job of, not only communicating, but sharing with others. And just one last thing, Mr. Richards, if my memory serves correctly, I think it's the last time you had Adam Thompson on the Blitz Wrap-Up training was somewhere a few years ago. So I would love to see him on the Blitz Wrap-Up training again. That's it. Back to you.
Jimmy, you got it. And I think that your request is well received as well. So thanks for your thoughts. I really appreciate that. It was great to see you. And listen, there's folks here that weren't with us in Baltimore. There's folks that weren't with us in Chicago. And none of this was designed to make you feel regretful. But we do want you to be informed, because when announcements come in the future, and it won't be in the fourth quarter, but when announcements come in the future about super regional events, we want you to remember this moment. Because there was a lot of folks that said, well, I don't know if I need to be there. I don't know, what am I going to see? What would I miss? It's always best, as Sonora Danzler says, to be in the room. And so we want to implore you to be in the room. And there's opportunities coming that are on the calendar for you to be in the room. And so we want to encourage you to do that. Now, before we stop talking about super regionals, and the next thing I'm going to talk about is incentives and bonus money and finishing strong. But before we get to that, I want to talk to Adam Thompson. We've got him here with us today. Mr. Thompson was on the panel in Chicago, and it was just an absolute honor to be able to sit next to him and do a panel. I don't know if we've ever done a panel together like that. It was so fun. And not only that, was just so that everybody understands, Adam Thompson is a $200,000 ring earner. He is knocking on the door of becoming a Millionaire Club member. Like, we can actually see it just around the corner, just around the bend. We can almost touch it, and I'll bet you can smell it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, Mr. Thompson, about coming up to Chicago, that event, and any takeaways that you think would be valuable to the group as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. Loud and clear. Good to go. You guys here?
Yeah, you're great.
Sometimes we need the event. Sometimes the event needs us. This time I needed that event, and I'm so thankful that I was able to go. Mr. Riches, thank you. Mr. Tanner, thank you so much. It was great to see the folks that I had come to know and love as a family, and meet some new folks, and just kind of jump off a cliff and jump right back into this ocean of there's you guys know me, so I talk about love and Jesus and all these things. It just felt like immersing yourself in a big warm hug, right? And that can sound as cheesy as you need it to sound, but for me, it's exactly what I needed. The things that we learn in life, for me, enrolling people in a group setting in Legal Shield and making a whole bunch of Legal Shield's money, the things that we learn in life that come natural and second nature, and it's just like getting back on a bike and going again. It feels good when you're getting back into something that you figured out how to do a long time ago. For that, I was happy to be at that event and be reminded and be congratulated and be recognized. And it just, Mike said even a few minutes ago that it's the education or the motivation. And I remember where I was when I heard Nick Serba say that on compact disc, an old school CD, and it stuck with me for a long time. And sometimes, for me at least, we just forget what we've learned in so many levels and so many capacities. So yeah, full transparency, I wasn't doing legal, haven't been doing Legal Shield enough. And for different reasons, I realize now it's what I need to be doing more than anything else in my life. I'm thankful to be welcomed back with open arms, to be received. I took, I'm kind of, I take more note pages than anyone else I know. So I took half a book full of notes just on the one day. We had one day in Chicago for maybe 5-6 hours max. And I'm going back through and marking them with the highlighter, saying, what can I, how can I implement that in my business? How can I put that, like Jimmy said, we get little nuggets. I mean, even after lunch, I went up to Alistair Edwards and asked him if he would send me, and I'm happy to post it or send it out or whatever, but I wanted to see the actual application, like the enrollment form that he uses in front of his, that he uses for his enrollments for his people. And it was just a little bit different. It was one little thing that I didn't have access to or hadn't seen before. And I vaguely remember he put a gun owner supplement, Jimmy, or something like that on there. And I've been, very bad about, or not good at all about, offering the supplements. I always offer the combo plan, but if there's money to be made, let's go where people are already knowing you and liking you and trusting you, right? So I asked Mr. Edwards for that form. I've got it. He emailed it. I'll get it to Mr. Tanner, et cetera. But little tiny things, stuff that Mike Riches had taught us years ago that I kind of just forgot. Stuff that Mr. Tanner, and I'll just clap for him right now. Jim's a good friend of mine. We've been, a drinking buddy here and there over the years. I don't see him as much as I want to because of the geography, but we have a great time. But I was blown away at how much Mr. Tanner has a presence on stage. Is, some of the folks on these calls and these Zooms know Jim as an agent of change and being the lighthouse, et cetera. And my heart was so warm when I was sitting beside him on stage and he talked to a room of, and it was standing room only. I kept seeing him bring in extra chairs and extra chairs. They didn't know that they were agents of change until Mr. Tanner told them. And he had so much just intensity, not angry, not forceful, not even assertive, but just, like Jimmy said, there weren't too many dry eyes after Jim was talking, and I was honored to be on the stage with you, Mr. Tanner, for sure. Absolutely. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. We need a hand signal, so I know when to unmute. Thank Adam. Thanks. And those are really kind things to say, and I appreciate it. And I believe that we are all driven by the work and with the clarity, as I said in that event in Chicago, when one of the questions I was asked was, what could people leave here and take action on right away? And I said, number one, remember why you started. I'll share that with you today. Remember why you started. And some of you started recently, and some of you started a long time ago, and somewhere in between for most of us. It's easy to forget why we started the longer we're here and to let that slip. And that's different than your why, because your why is going to evolve over time. I'm talking about what you might call remember where you come from. Because I remember why I started. I started to make $400 a week. That was the price of my freedom. I started so that I could say goodbye to a full-time job and a part-time job where I wasn't respected. Nobody considered me. Nobody cared what I did or how their decisions affected me. They just wanted me to show up and basically be labor for them. Totally fine, but it wasn't serving the future version of me. I remember why I started. That's a different why than my whys today. And by the way, Rachel Lawton's training on goal setting made me realize how lax I have been in having a clear vision of where I go next. Without a clear vision of where I go next, how can I know if I'm on my way? But I'll get back to saying this clearly, which is that you have to remember why you started. And then I think it's equally important, maybe even more profoundly important, to remember why Harlan Stonecipher started. Because to remember why you started this business will ground you in the decision you made and in the moment you made that decision. And it will remind you that things could probably be worse than they are right now, because I'll bet for most people, if you're like me, you started in Legal Shield when really you had no other options. when everything seemed like there was no other way to turn, you found this. And I think that for so many of us, it is that way, and it's that way intentionally. So remembering why you started, and then also remembering why Harlan Stonecipher started this thing, and remembering that on his kitchen table, he started the same business that you and I started on our kitchen tables. But he didn't have the certainty that it was going to work. He didn't have $1 billion behind him. He didn't have MidOcean. He didn't have 50 years. He didn't have the best attorneys in the country. He didn't have millionaires that could mentor the new people. It was just him and a clear vision that things should be different than the way they are. And he set out to make that so. Because I'm going to talk about the money next, and I want to encourage you to get incredibly wealthy doing this business. I just think about the ways that we're able to help other people in our family that we wouldn't be able to if we were the ones that needed the help. And I won't go any further into it than that, because it means different things for different people. But there are things that you'll be able to do for others that you can't possibly comprehend until somebody comes and asks, or they don't ask, and they don't have to ask. You just step in. So I'm gonna share my screen, and I'm gonna go over what's going on, because I want to do two things. I want to inspire you to do more. I think that it would be really, really silly for me to host an event on a weekly basis where my goal is not to inspire you to do more. So I want to inspire you to do more. But also I want to inspire you to share the opportunity so that you understand that in doing more, in helping more people, in protecting more families, more businesses, their employees, the families of those employees, by doing more of that, you'll realize just how little you could do on your own. And you'll catch fire in saying, I want to partner up. I want to partner with brokers and insurance professionals. I want to partner with other pros in my community, entrepreneurs. I want to partner with my friend that's an online influencer. I want to partner with people that just want to have their own business and call their own shots. I want to partner so that we can make an impact faster. So this is obviously our cover slide, but I want to talk to you about our incentives. First of all, for our new associates and those of you helping people get started, you have the first group opened incentive. When you get certified through the training that Mike Rich just talked about, which is this Friday, you can get certified, and then you can go and open your own group and earn a $250 cash bonus for opening your first group. But if you do it with a field trainer, you'll earn a $100 cash bonus. And we've learned in both Baltimore and Chicago, we talked about the numbers and the percentages and just how it's not a small difference. It's a massive difference between trying to figure it out for yourself when you're new and having a field trainer go with you, someone that's not going to get a curveball, someone that's heard every objection, somebody that's been in every situation, somebody that knows what to do when everything goes wrong and they can still make it go right. And you get a $500 bonus for that. So think about that for yourself. You know, often when I talk about our opportunity, and I'm going to talk about our opportunity at 9:00 p.m. Eastern tonight, when I talk about our opportunity, I use a phrase that many of you have heard me say. You are funded on day one. This business doesn't require you to go and get a business plan together and go to the bank and borrow money. It doesn't require you to get angel investors to give away a piece of your business to get started. You are funded by this company. And when I say that, this is one of the ways I'm talking about, because you can earn bonuses for yourself, but also you can build a team. And instead of you having to write a check to incentivize your team members, the company will pay those bonuses for you. Now, I would do that. If I had thought of this in the days before this bonus, if I had thought of this, I would have gladly offered my new associates $500 for opening a new group, for opening their first group with a field trainer. But I hadn't thought of it. The company did. And the company, after they thought of it, they didn't say, hey, Jim, you should go do it. They said, we will do it for you. That's powerful. That's a business where you're funded on day one. Now let's talk about funding by the millions of dollars. We have our next trip to Montego Bay, Jamaica. We've been to this resort before, Hyatt Rose Hall. It's a phenomenal place. And we have a program going, this is in your back office, this flyer, under resources, where on the business solution side of the house, you can qualify to go on this trip with us. We also have a new leaderboard I don't have a screenshot of for what we call a full service associate, where you can use recruiting and selling of memberships and the premium you sell in those memberships to qualify to go on the trip. The point is, we want you on this trip with us. It's all expenses paid. It's no expenses spared. It's another one of these things where you get to not just go on a trip. I think it's hard if you've never been on the trip to see past a vacation, but it's a vacation with many, many, many of the most successful Legal Shield associates in the history of the company. Now, not every one of those people are still with us these days. Some of them are old, they don't go on the trips anymore. But you're talking about hundreds of people that are ring earners and Millionaire Club members that you're going to be there with, and they want to help you. They want to know what your goals are, and they want to help you get to your goals. They want to help you have a plan of action. I have been poured into by every one of the most successful people in this company, and I'm a reflection of all of their generosity today. And the places I met most of them are at live events and on these trips all over the world. Now, here's the on this one way, because I got to put up the other slide. I'll have that for you next week. But on the solution side of the house, just write $5,000 worth of solutions premium. And then you can also get cash bonuses if you rank higher. If you rank in the top 5, $2,000 cash bonus. There's a $1,500 cash bonus. This is on top of the trip. This is just money to say thank you. And then folks that qualify but don't make those top 50 spots, we're also going to draw for 20 more trips for 2. So that's powerful for you. I also want to remind you that this is the end of Q3. So September, this is our Q3, our Q3 bonus program for business solutions. Whereas a Ruby, you can earn up to $2,000 in additional money. As a Sapphire, up to $4,000, and as an Emerald, up to $6,000 in bonus money. This is going to conclude at the end of September as we go into the fourth quarter. This is our Q3 bonus program. And you might be saying to yourself, well, listen, I get excited about bonus money. What's the most bonus money I can make? Well, in 2023, on January 1st, they announced a $100,000 level up bonus program. And what I love about this bonus program is, and really a lot of our bonuses, it's essentially getting paid twice on the same activity, because you're earning 1-year advance commissions on every membership you sign up, right? You're building your book of business, your asset for the future, ongoing monthly residual income into the future for the lifetime of every membership. And you're qualifying by triggering these bonuses. So you're getting paid again and again on the same activity you did one time, right? $2,500. Because some of you are saying, well, I wish I started in January on this. I understand. And some of the people that started in January are going to write enough to qualify for all $100,000 of this bonus money. We did this in 2022. Coming out of COVID, some markets slower than others to open up. And we had folks that almost captured every one of these levels, got real close to the top. And I was saying to myself, man, if they do this again in 2023, people are going to get all 100,000, because you can feel the momentum building coming into the new year. And I have it on good authority. No one's told me for sure. I'm just telling you as a friend, I hear things. And the rumbling is we're going to do something like this again in 2024. I hope that's true. But my point is, because I'm running out of time, that wherever you are, even if you're just getting started, pick up that $250 bonus for level 1. Go further, go to level 2, pick up $1,000. Go to level 3, pick up $2,500. Go to level 4, it's only $10,000 in premium. You've got almost 5 months left right now to write that $10,000 in premium. You're going to earn all of your commissions for that. You're building your book of business, and oh, by the way, you'll earn a $5,000 bonus. See what I'm saying? This is powerful, and it's worth it. And while you're doing that, you can also qualify to be treated like royalty in 2024. If you're not already one of these ranked elite folks already, we call this our top producer program, as a Sapphire Elite, which only requires you to write $3,500 in personal business solutions premium in all of 2023. You get a dedicated Sapphire support line. You get paid executive director level commissions on all groups with 200 plus employees, regardless of your actual level in the compensation plan. And you get targeted incentives that you'll hear about that won't be broadcast to the rest of the company. It's only for the Sapphires. Equally, at Emerald, hit $8,000 in personal business, which is why I said, go for that $10,000 level, get $5,000 in bonuses, get all of your commissions, and also qualify at Emerald Elite. Because as an Emerald Elite with $8,000, that's all you need in personal business solutions premium. You get a dedicated home office Emerald Elite account manager, concierge level service for you and for all of your groups. Enrollment communications leadership, a concierge for that. You're paid at the platinum level, regardless of your qualifying level. You're paid at platinum on all groups with 200 or more employees. There's advanced trainings that are only going to be available to Emeralds. Something I know I'm not supposed to say. I didn't sign anything, but I was driving back to the airport with executives, including Mr. Riches, and they were talking about the trainings that they're going to make available to the Emerald Elites at no cost, trainings that are going to be pretty cool. So advanced trainings, private receptions, and other things, and targeted incentives as well for Emerald Elite. So we want to make sure that you're doing this business at the highest level that makes sense for you, meaning that you're taking advantage of everything that's available to you and for you. Let me end this screen share. I realize you're looking at me either way, but let's see. Stop share. Okay. And then I do this. Hey, everybody's back in front of me. So listen, it's 12:41. We like to get this done in 45 minutes or less. I just want to say what you do matters. It's noble and important. You've heard me say that before. But acting with urgency is going to transfer that noble, important work into action that duplicates and is exponential even faster. What does all that mean, Jim? What are you even talking about? I'm talking about the next person that you touch with this membership, and all of a sudden they're living their lives differently. They're not frustrated. They don't wonder who to call, and they don't wonder why the whole world pushes them around. Because you stepped into their life and you changed that for them. Business owners that are trying to retain their employees that were hard to get in the first place and to attract more talented people into their business so they can grow are looking for ways that they can have creative benefits packages and offerings that give them a competitive advantage. And then you step into their lives. You make a phone call, you pop your head in the door, and you let them know that our services exist. You share the opportunity. You let somebody know that not only can they have great services to protect their own families and their own business, but they can also create a new stream of income for their family, create a lasting legacy by building something with residual income, maybe in their case for the first time in their lives. The point is that as you're stepping out into the community today and throughout the rest of the week, the activities that you do, the decisions you make, have a profound, lasting, and often invisible impact on the people around you. You are changing people's lives, whether you feel it and understand it, know it or not. I've been here 20 years. I know that what happens when you go out there and you share our services and you share our opportunity. And I'm just asking you that you continue to do that with excitement and courage today and throughout the week as we make sure that we are touching as many lives as we can. Thanks to Adam Thompson, Jimmy Ta, Dan Gray, and Mike Riches, who had to jump off. And for all of you for joining us today. And remember, we have many other events throughout the week that you can plug into. We'll see you right back here on Monday next week for our big circle up. And for those of you that are in Seattle and Portland, I'll see you at the end of the week. I'm looking forward to that as well as I get out to the Pacific Northwest. Goodbye, everybody.